We have to basically give thanks to last year. We had a great organization that had a fundraiser, and this is the presentation for these recipients for last year. We have Francis Cavallo and Maria Smith. Did I pronounce that correct?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
No,
Also,
you
I'd
did.
like to take a minute to thank our sponsors and volunteers, the Spirit of Shrewsbury, Bean Counter, I'm not saying this, and Maria Smith Real Estate. I'm not going to say my own name. It's really not appropriate.
And Sean.
And Sean. So the first check will be presented to the Shrewsbury Youth and Family Services. Can we have a representative stand up, please? Huh? Oh, photo op? Get out of the way.
That's not mine. Oh,
No.
what is it? I have, oh, she does. Okay. Sorry, guys, technical difficulties.
Also, can we have a representative for the Worcester County Food Bank? I just want to. And then there's also a check for St. Anne's Church Family Services. I don't think we have anybody in attendance, but I'll be willing to take that check for them.
I'll give it to him then,
Yeah.
right here. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. For you guys don't know, I am Francis Carvalho. I am the president of the Spirit of Shrewsbury, and I want to thank you so much for all the patience and the hard work that all the crew does for the Spirit of Shrewsbury. And I'm very, very appreciative for everybody that's here tonight. And this year, we are going to help the Special Olympics of Massachusetts that's in the house tonight.
Worcester Food
Yes.
County. St. Anne's.
That's the real deal. Thank you. No
There's St.
problem.
Anne's, man. Thank you very much.
Sean said that he's going to receive for St. Anne, so I'm going to give it to him. Don't you think?
I don't want to carry it around right now, though. It doesn't fit my pocket. I'm sorry.
Great. Thank you, guys. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we're all set. Special Olympics. Yep. All right, so we're also going to take a moment to honor the Shrewsbury Special Olympics basketball team. Last year, they went and represented the USA in the Special Olympics. I'm sorry, I'm blanking here. World Games for 2019. So I have Bill O'Brien. But before you come up, Bill, I just want to say seriously, I think I'm amazed. First of all, to be competing in the nation against the nation, and you were like the top 4 teams. And then they ask you to represent our country, to go across the world and play, and they take home the silver. I mean, they make movies about stuff like that, you know. What was the Olympics movie for the hockey? What? That's what they called it when I got married, too. Miracle. Miracle. It's amazing. It's a miracle. Anyhow, yeah, Bill O'Brien, my hat's off to you, gentlemen. You did a tremendous job. You made the town of Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, and our nation very proud. And the best thing you did is you were a great example of going above and beyond and sportsmanship. Because when I got involved in sports, it was all about being with your friends and having fun. And now it's more like more aggression than having fun. And you guys were just the picture of sportsmanship. It was amazing. Thank you very much. Bill O'Brien, you very much.
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate the opportunity to be recognized tonight in our community. I'd just like to introduce the team, but before I do that, I want to give a big shout out to the town itself and to the Parks and Recreation Department and Angela Snell. Our organization doesn't exist if the community doesn't want to support a program. And the Parks and Recreation Department has been a huge advocate of Special Olympics and offering sports programming year-round for the athletes and the members of our community. So thank you, Angela, and thank you, Shrewsbury. There were 10 athletes athletes on our team and 3 coaches, and I think I can speak for all the coaches in saying that it was our privilege to watch them and to be with them as they achieved the silver medal. It was really a great thing to be part of. And I think as coaches, we feel real privileged to have watched that and been part of that whole miracle of our own. So from the 2019 Special Olympics USA men's basketball team, I'd like to call your names and come on up and be recognized. Ryan Dixon. Matthew Rowe. Reggie Emerald. John Sargent. Matthew Millett, 40 years. Liam O'Brien. And Brian Knowles. In addition, one of our other coaches is with me tonight, Keith Peabody. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hold on, gents, don't sit down, don't sit down. Okay.
So we have a special presentation for the team. They are being honored for their effort in representing Massachusetts. So we have a special basketball trophy because a famous team always signs a ball. So we're hoping that maybe you could sign this as the special team. We have a marker over here, and then you can put it in your trophy case at the Special Olympics Hall. Thank you so much for coming up. You are the champions.
Bigger and better things. Sure.
Onto the Grand Marshal.
All right.
And we can have, Leandro to pass the torch over the Grand Marshal sash.
Sure.
And then we have the other presentations that we can give to.
Sure. Okay, so we're going to go ahead with our main event, which is honoring the Grand Marshal for the 2019 Spirit of Shrewsbury. This year, well, I'm sorry, that's not how it's supposed to start. Yeah, I'm supposed to introduce myself. I'm Sean Lawler. I'm with the Shrewsbury Fire Department. I've been doing the MC here for the last 3 years, and I'm unhappy with my long distance account. That's basically the whole entire thing. Welcome everybody for coming tonight, and thank you very much. Much anticipated kickoff for our Fall Classic of Spirit of Shrewsbury. And the Spirit of Shrewsbury is an event which brings together family and friends to learn about and enjoy many local businesses, organizations, charities of this great town that we call home. And our honoree for this year brings a different perspective of the town, and he allows his readers to appreciate and admire the changes that this town has gone through over the years. Michael Perner. Michael Perner is a person who basically shows us exactly what we missed when we look around. And I try to explain to my son this is a drive-in. And he says, what do you do there? And why is there, how are you supposed to see the movies? There's so many trees. And I'm like, no, there wasn't trees there before. This is a huge drive-in. This is how we used to go and see movies. And he's like, you sat outside? I'm like, no, we were in cars, and we listened to the speakers. And what else do you do? I don't know, it depends on how old you were. So we see all these changes happen. I personally felt saddened when the doors of Spags closed, because it's part of history, and we're moving on. And it's good to evolve and become, but it's also good to remember what things were before and how we got here, and try to learn. So this gentleman, our Shrewsbury historian, has basically made it his project to keep us all up to date, to show us exactly what we've been missing. And it's pretty cool when you go into a bookstore or someplace and you say, hey, I know that guy. He told me to get out of his house and stop eating his food. You know? Rich and I have been good friends. That's Mr. Perner's son. And I really didn't know that Mr. Perner spoke at all, to be honest with you, for a good 3 years. I'd walk in the door and he would just look at you with disappointment, or he knew that he had to feed me eventually, or I was too loud. The only interaction the first interaction I had with Mr. Perner was his coming outside in a hush or a rush to tell me there is no open field tackling when you play badminton. And poor Rich is over there like, "Ugh." It was a simple argument, we all have them, and it was a great time, got to grow up there, and Mrs. Perner would make food, and Rich would have us over and play cards, and parents were just really laid back. But just like this town, I never knew how much he did. And he didn't go around bragging about it. You know, over 1,000 articles written for local papers. I'm a historian for the town of Shrewsbury. 36 years of service for our nation. He never knew. I mean, the only thing I really knew about him is he loved his car and don't touch any of my stuff. He had a lot of stuff, and they were cool. There were model airplanes, there were Civil War stuff, there was guns that he didn't bring out when I was around. And, you know, but his cars, you know, it was kind of weird. Like, you couldn't go near it. If you hit it with a street hockey ball, you just started running. And today, I think it's the same thing. I mean, he's retired. He still does a lot of work, but those cars take a big part of his life. Like, he goes out there, and you can hear him singing Perry Como to it and stuff like that, waxing it up. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Well, his wife filled me in. A wife, they've been together for 45 years. I think that's one of the greatest accomplishments, because my wife has been 13, and I think she's done. So, you know, so 45 years, I mean, that's a lot. But the cars, yeah, Mrs. Perner was saying, yeah, he's always had that. He had a Z28, black Z28 with gold lettering. And I'm like, what do you think, he was Rocky? And they're like, no, that's a Trans Am. This is a Z28, very fast. I loved it. I'm looking at these two like, I didn't even know you guys had fun. And they're out here racing cars and doing this, and wow. And she's like, yeah, it was a sad day, you know, we had to get a family man, and we had to get a different car, you know, so we had to go out there, and I remember looking at, you know, these cars, and yeah, we just had to make a choice. And so they went and bought what? A red Z28 instead of the black one. And that's how, you know, the two kids were strapped on the T-roof, and they just cruised around until DYS stepped in, and that was the end of it. And now he's got the BMW. I'm sorry to poke fun at you, sir. Please don't hurt me later. Okay. Thank you very much. I know we all read the program on Mr. Perner. He graduated 68, retired 36 years of service. And Chief of Military Records for the state of Massachusetts. The accomplishments go on and on. But I think, like I mentioned before, the greatest thing I feel is his ability to bring the story. I mean, history for me is, you know, I'm sorry, sir, with all due respect, can be pretty blah, right? It's not entertaining, it doesn't grab you, and you don't sit down and sit there and study it as such a man does. And I mean, even recalling school, you know, you do a project on history, and Sean, what'd you learn about history? Mr. Joseph, a lot of historical figures are dead. That's about what I got. Can I leave? You know? But this gentleman, he goes and he writes 5 books, and he's gonna publish his 6th book, and this one he made with his grandchildren. So you got the family involved. I mean, who thinks of that stuff, you know? I have a hard enough time taking my kids up to the swings. This guy's writing books with his grandkids, so just a great person. And if you ever want to stop by and, you know, take a picture with the BMW, he's down the street, you know, the house right there, the bumper sticker says, not sure of your future, study the past. It's pretty cool, you know? That was a joke, by the way, if you want to laugh at it. Okay. And, sorry. Some other things that the program didn't put out there is, what does he do with his pastime? Huge Doctor Who fan. Who would have guessed? Seriously, Doctor Who. I would have never known. Star Wars, you know? And he likes doing collections, like I said before. He had a lot of cool stuff, but I guess it becomes some of a problem when his wife wakes up and just finds random bricks, windows, bar sets, just things laying. They had to move twice. And I think they basically employ all the people up there at Simply Self-Storage. You know, reads Tom Clancy books, and but he's a real family man. He has the answers. Reminds me, or sounds a lot like how my grandfather was, who knew a little bit about everything that was going on, especially for the town he lived in. And he takes great pride in it. And it's a real honor to present him this year to the recipient. What's the thing called again? Grand Marshal, that's it. So, without wasting any more time, I'd just like to say it's been an honor to do the presentation tonight. Good fans, good family friends, a lot of years, a lot of yelling. So if we can have Maria and come back up and we can do the presentation of SASH. Also, I want to say, I'm sorry, I skipped a part. Maria, you don't have to say it. If Angela Snell, last year's recipient, please come up to the front with a smile on her face. You also want to have Art Dobson. Do you feel like coming up, or you just want to stand? This is another past recipient of Sue Falzoy. Oh, there she is, sorry, she's hiding. Is there any other recipients for the Grand Marshal? Anyone? Bueller? No? Okay, good. Mr. Perner, we do us the honor of coming up and receiving your sash. That you have to put on. You have to put it on. Yeah, I'll move my stuff.
One of the lovely ladies put it on you. You have to wear this, Mike. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Be glad it doesn't light up. Okay?
Yeah, it's upside down. And now you have to put the crown on.
No problem. This is your medallion to wear so that everyone knows when you're not wearing your sash, you have to wear that so that they know who you are.
Yeah, it so goes over your head.
It's like an Olympic medal.
Boys, show them how to do the Olympic medal.
There you go. Awesome.
And that will also get you free coffee.
All right. Okay. Well,
You're not done yet.
I'm not done.
Oh, how many more gifts do you have to give them?
Hey, we love our Grand Marshal. This is a special remembrance for you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
You have to put that around your neck.
No. There's more?
Yeah. Yeah. We actually got a whole wagon. It's
All
like
right.
Bozo the Clown, you know, just rails a wagon.
Last thing from the Spirit of Shrewsbury. It's a commemorative sweatshirt that you can wear and be nice and snugly warm.
All right.
You can wear it to the expo on Saturday, FYI.
I see.
Congratulations.
Well, I'm not quite sure what to say. this was quite unexpected, this whole thing. And those of you that know Maria know that she's not quite, she's very calm and, you know, so on. But a couple of weeks ago, I looked at my email and I had an email from Maria saying, I need to talk to you right away. So I looked at my work email, I need to talk to you right away. I looked at my other work email, I need to talk to you right away, it's important. I said, what's going on? You know, what's the matter? So I called her up and she said, I said, what's wrong? And she said, we just want to know if you want to be the Grand Marshal of the Spirit of Shrewsbury. I said, what? Me? And she said, yes, we want you to do that. So I said, okay, all right, what do I have to do? Nothing, just appear. All right, so we're still going along with that. But I'd just like to say I'm very humbled by this. I didn't expect it. I'd like to thank my lovely wife, Sandy, for supporting me for these things I do. I'm not quite sure why I'm here, but the way I feel about it is some of this stuff I do is my hobby. I like doing it, the history and all that. Some people golf or they fish or whatever, and they enjoy it, but other people don't really get involved in it. But it seems like the things I do, other people enjoy, so that's very gratifying to me. And as far as the veterans part of it and what I do for work, that's also very gratifying because we're helping people all the time, all our veterans, both in the town, and the state, and so on. But I'd just like to thank, first of all, recognize our Special Olympics people. And as far as the historical stuff, I feel very fortunate over the years that I was able to talk to some of our older town residents, including Alden Stone, the former town clerk, Henry Harlow, Alex LeBeau, who's John LeBeau's uncle, one of our selectmen, and the late Robert Cormier, that mentored me along, or I was able to talk to and write down what they said and preserve that for our future generations. The members of the Historical Society, Historic District Commission, and Historical Commission, town officials that kind of support me. I'd just like to mention, I have a new book coming out. I just got the cover for it, right here, Shrewsbury Through Time, Volume 2. And everybody says, what is that? People don't realize that there are parts of Shrewsbury that are on the other side of the lake. On the Worcester side, there's a little peninsula that's part of Shrewsbury because the line doesn't come straight. So that's what that is. Anyway, I'd like to also recognize my grandchildren that helped me with the book. Tyler, who's here, Caitlin, Jack and Anthony that aren't here, but they helped take some of the photos. It's a then and now book. They did some proofreading, some transcribing the captions and so on. And also to mention that today is what we may not realize. It's the Prisoner of War Missing in Action Day for the country. And I never realized myself, even with my military background, how many people from Massachusetts are still missing in action or prisoners of war that were never found from World War II, Korea, and the current Vietnam and the current era. I just couldn't believe how many there are. We got a list. So I would like to have a moment of silence for them. Thank you very much. And thanks for all of you for coming tonight.
I'm gonna carry a clock for you.
No, I get it.
You sure?
I get it.
Don't strain yourself.
I got
The
the
bag
bag.
too, yeah. All right, so it's my unique style, and this is what usually gets me in trouble. I just have to say, does anybody else see that guy flying down the street in a Z28? Anything? Oh! Huh? No. No. Beamer. Oh, yeah, the Beamer. He got it on a lowrider. Lets people know he's there. I'd like to have our state representative, Hannah Kane, please come up. And I'm sorry, Mr. Perner, I do this every year, but you have to come up too. I keep sending the people back, and then I have to call them back up. It's like throwing fish back in the pond. I apologize. Sorry, it's no stand.
That's okay.
I'll go sit down.
That would be a good idea. Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight. I'm here not only as myself, but I'm also representing Senator Moore and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito, who couldn't be here tonight. But all three of us are so pleased to see you being recognized as our Grand Marshal. You are somebody that we have all, especially Karen and I, have reached out to you. My office, as late as yesterday, reached out to you on a question. He is the person that we turn to understand all things historical in Shrewsbury. You are such a treasure. You're such an understated gentleman. You've done so much in your life. You've given so much, not only to our community, but to the Commonwealth and to our country in your service to all of us. And you have an impact not only on the people here in this room, in this current generation, but you've made sure that future generations of people who live in Shrewsbury and call it home understand what an incredibly special place it is and the rich history that we've had here. So I thank you for that. I'm glad to know you. I'm glad to call you a friend. I'm glad to call on you whenever I have a question about anything that's going on here. But tonight, I want to honor you with 3 different citations. There's one from the House of Representatives congratulating you. There is one from the Senate congratulating you. And I do want to read the one from Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito here. The Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Michael Perna Jr., Shrewsbury Town Historian. On behalf of the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, I'm pleased to confer upon you this governor's citation in recognition of your 36 years of dedicated service to the Massachusetts Air National Guard and your current service as Chief of the Military Records Branch. The Commonwealth also commends your passion for historical analysis and your scholarly efforts to chronicle Shrewsbury's historical contributions to Massachusetts and the nation. And it's signed on the 17th day of September in the year 2019 by Governor Charlie Baker and Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito. So. This is a citation from the House, signed by the Speaker and myself, and this is your citation from the Senate. And I do want to make sure that you're aware, because I know that you have interviewed so many of Shrewsbury's forefathers and made sure that you've captured their thoughts on what's happened here in history. I just want to let you know my husband's very old, so you may want to get to him soon.
Not that old. Not as old as me.
Right. But on behalf of everyone here in the community, thank you so much for the gifts that you've given us, your service to all of us in our country. And thank you to everyone involved with the Spirit of Shrewsbury for making this such a wonderful event to look forward to year after year, celebrating all that we have here now, all that we've ever been, and all that we're ever going to be. So congratulations.
Thanks.
You're
Thank
welcome.
All that stuff that you received tonight, you have to also carry with you on the parade. So make sure you bring all that stuff with you. Bring a big car. Can I have the selectmen please come up? And again, you sat down, and I didn't give you permission, so you have to come back up. It's part of history, sir. You have to follow rules. Come on, Mike.
Michael. So Sean, I just want to make sure I get this right. Each one of us have 3 minutes, right?
No. The way we're going right now, you guys get done.
Okay. Good evening. I'll introduce my fellow members from the board. They don't need an introduction, but Beth Cassavant, Jim Kane, and John Samia. Our other member, the Commissioner of Agriculture, I think we're calling him Commando LeBeau right now because he is out working on attacking mosquitoes in Plymouth. He's swatting them. So John can't be here. He's going to be out well, there's a few of them. He's not flying the plane. They wouldn't let him. But he's literally has to be out the whole time the planes are out, him and some other guys, because they have to make on-the-spot decisions of whether or not they're going to spray a certain area. And who would have thought growing tomatoes would have turned into that? But in any event, he sends his best wishes and his apologies for not being here. Real quickly, Mike and I grew up not too far from each other. And Mike is only a couple of years older than me, actually. And there was a field up in the back of Mike's house. And we used to go and play baseball up there. I don't really know if I played. I know I brought a bat and a glove because the guys were kind of old, but I remember Mike going back to those days, and I can tell you he was the same person then as he is now. He's just a humble guy, quiet. It was very difficult to know when you got excited, but you've stayed the same, and you stayed, and tonight you demonstrated again that you're just a humble guy who likes to help people and sees the value of preserving our history so future generations know about it. So I want to thank you for that. I also just want to mention, this night is about Mike. And what did Mike do? He asked us to stop and think about the MIAs and the POWs, and that's the kind of person that he is. So it's so exciting for us to be able to honor you. I was excited when I was told that you were going to be the Grand Marshal. I think all of us were. And we're very happy to give you a proclamation honoring you. I'm not going to bore you and read all of it because we've already said most of it. But I do want to just call attention to a really important part of your life. Being in the military and dedicating yourself for 36 years to military service when you probably could have gone out and got a job that paid more money. Your work with the veterans as the veterans agent for the town, and your work on the records that you maintain for the servicemen going back to World War II for the state. Thank you. That's just a tremendous. I want to say it's gratifying for me to say I know you because you do it, but I think it's just a tremendous selfless thing that you do, and we really should congratulate you for it, and we are tonight. So in honor of your being named Grand Marshal, the board would like to present you with this proclamation honoring all your hard work. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take a picture, Mike?
Just one picture, and then you can sit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just move the rocking podium.
I also would like to thank you all for coming this evening. It's such a wonderful honor to see our Grand Marshal and carrying the torch on for this year. And I would like to just thank everyone for all their participation and their volunteerism we couldn't do it without everybody. We're a great team. Spirit of Shrewsbury rocks. And after this, we're going to get our team up dancing, and we're going to get this party started. Before we end, I would like to just make a special presentation to Sean, because we could not do this without him. I think he's amazing, and he always has some pearls of wisdom to share with us.
Look at my wife when you say that.
You're a lucky woman.
It's said.
He paid me to say that.
It's not apology. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
I just, the one thing, no, there's no gift. They just asked me to leave, and they give me a doggy bag out the back door. Basically, I just wanted to say the one thing I thought about just when he was sitting up here and the expression and stuff, and I hope you know this is all done with love. I would never disrespect you, because my grandfather would probably come back and beat me up for that, but you'd give Bill Belichick a run for his money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's on the White City. Yeah, it's on the White City. Yeah, no, it's on the White City. Book number 6 is coming out on the White City. Next question. No, I'm not taking you for a ride in my BMW. Beautiful man. It was an honor being up here. I thank everybody too.